It seems as if to make sure that the tournament matches were all good on Monday Night Raw tonight, to make sure that everybody could say that tonight's Monday Night Raw was a good match, we had a lot of matches of guys that we've seen wrestle countless times. We've had Roman Reigns go in there against the Big Show. We've had Dolph Ziggler against The Miz. And this match right here, even though it's probably one of the matches that stood up off of the tournament brackets, Cesaro versus Sheamus is one that we've honestly seen at least 100 times this year on television, from different Raw matches, different SmackDown matches. I'm sure we've seen these guys wrestle on pay-per-view at least once somewhere this year. And Cesaro is another guy like that I talk about when I talked about Kevin Owens, and I think that easily could be one of those guys to separate from the pack. If WWE really wants to make a star out of this tournament and really have a come out of nowhere win where somebody becomes a main eventer and can fill in the gap between now and WrestleMania, and can raise the stock of WWE by having another guy that can be in the main event and fans can get behind, is Cesaro. Cesaro's always been one of those guys that stands up off the page as being a great wrestler. If you think about how much they've put into this guy, he's always sold shirts, no matter how easy or how simple the shirt design is. I know that he sells a lot of them. I know some people that bought every single shirt that this guy's had, and they followed his career all the way from Ring of Honor, but I think that Cesaro definitely is a really special guy. Sheamus is coming into this tournament as Mr. Money in the Bank. He's not even being used as a single wrestler right now. He's in some sort of a European tag team with him and Sheamus. So as they come out to the ring, Sheamus and Barrett are coming out to the ring together. Barrett is playing the lackey. We see a soccer player, Wayne Rooney, who I guess is famous and he's a big deal, sitting there at the normal spot where they put celebrities right next to where the action is. And we see some interaction between Wade Barrett and Wayne Rooney. Of course, Barrett's one of the most over wrestlers every time they go on to the UK tour. And it's a big deal every time that he's there. There's a lot of action inside of this one where basically there was a spot where it looked like they were almost going to do the count out victory, where it was going to be a draw, something that they like to do to sort of progress the tournament without taking a lot of time, and you're able to skip a match by somebody being able to just straight up advance. All the tournaments that I've ever seen from WWE, whether if it's WrestleMania 4, whether if it's Deadly Games, there's been some sort of double disqualification, there's been some sort of double count out, where they're always able to save some time on the show by basically doing a bye. And I thought that's what they were going to be able to do, as both guys took a spill out of the ring and were barely able to make it back into the ring before the 10 count. Once they came back into the ring, Sheamus was able to hit the white noise. And Cesaro was able to kick out of that. From there, we saw the sharpshooter from Cesaro, but due to some outside interference, they were able to get out of it. Cesaro dropped Sheamus from the top rope down to the floor, where basically they went down onto the floor yet once again, and Cesaro did the thing where he goes out and he celebrates with the Cesaro section, and from there, Wade Barrett is shown having words with Wayne Rooney on the outside, and they've never really been getting along out there. And during this, Wayne Rooney and Wade Barrett get into it because of this. Sheamus, he has to sort of pay attention to distraction. He has to try and run over and help, but because of the distraction, Cesaro is able to hit the uppercut and roll up Sheamus in order to get the victory. So Cesaro now advances. Him and Rooney are on the outside, and they're sort of celebrating. Sheamus and Wade Barrett make their exit. I don't really remember, honestly, who Cesaro is going to face in the next round, but I think that, honestly, the Wayne Rooney sort of deal on the outside would have been a bigger deal, even though I don't really follow soccer, if I wouldn't have gone to the NXT show and it was the same spot that they did on both shows on Saturday and Sunday, involving the bands of Aftershock, and it just sort of seems like this is WWE's move. This is what they do. Hopefully, now that it's been televised, this is something that they're going to stay away from and not overuse for the foreseeable future. I think we only got one more tournament match coming up next, which is going to be Tyler Breeze against Dean Ambrose, and we'll see what goes on in that match.